Kyra. So, I apologize because the pain meds is kind of, they knock me out, so I kind of like fall asleep and then I wake up. So, I was at Wyeth, which was in Radnor. And if you zoom in, you can see this was the thing I worked on, that I was the project manager, software engineer, and then, anyway, so I did that. And then I decided, because there was so much extra work we couldn't handle, and there were vendors out there, independent companies doing the same software, making tons of more money than I was as a salary. So I said, I'm gonna be a crazy fuck, and I'm gonna drop my comfy job in corporate America, and I'm gonna leave Wyeth, and I'm gonna join a startup company and learn how to be an entrepreneur. So when I left Wyeth, before it moved to Collegeville, before it got bought by Pfizer, I went to Wilmington, North Carolina, which is on the coast. I accepted a job at this place. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably hard to see. Pharmatech Solutions, and I was the Director of Information Technology, which basically meant I was employee number 7. It was a startup, so anything that had a fucking computer or a piece of software, I was responsible for. And then I replicated similar pieces of the software that I did at Wyeth. And I was there for 18 months, and I learned how to become an entrepreneur, start a company from scratch. Brilliant experience. Then I left there and I started my own company, which is this one here. This is Interactive Voice Response Systems, IVRIS, which in French means ivres. If you look up the word ivres in French, it means intoxicated, which I thought was an appropriate, not a double entendre, but you know. And this was my company that I ran with Marie and a small handful of other employees and people that helped me for 10, 12 years. And I made a ton of fucking money. I was very lucky. And I was able to beat the odds, and I made it a success. So that was Hilton Head. So when we left, Marie and I worked together to build this company. But basically, I went from Wyeth, which was in Radnor, and then I was living in Collegeville at the end. I sold my condo. And then I moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was at the startup company. And then, because when I left there, they were pissed off because they didn't want to lose me, and they threatened a compete clause I had signed, so I could not open my own company in North Carolina. But if I moved out of the state of North Carolina, then I could open my own company. So that's when we came to Hilton Head, because Marie found a job on Monster as a developer at the telephone company. So she worked full time while I got this fucking thing off the ground. It took me a year before I got my first contract. But I refused to quit. I refused to give up. And the thing that's really cool is that, so I didn't know it, but eventually Wyeth got bought by Pfizer. And all the people at Wyeth that told me when I had resigned voluntarily, dude, you're out of your fucking mind. You're gonna be unemployed, and you're gonna have to call a headhunter and get a job at some other company and start all over again. You're like set here, you know. You're an entrepreneur inside of a big company, so you have no risk. And I'm like, no, I have no risk, but I have no reward, because I make 70, 80 a year, and for one of these things, that's what the vendors charged that for one system, and we were doing 15 systems a year. So do the math, and that's when, after I left and I became fortunately successful, all those same guys, a lot of them got laid off. So, shit happens. But anyway, that's the answer to your question. All right.